Hey everybody, so we're going to try the video again. Apparently something was off in the last one, so I apologize for that if you sat through it. So the purpose of this video is really just to give you an overview of how the class is laid out and some other additional important aspects of the class before you actually get access to it. So you're getting this on Thursday. You should have access to the class on Friday in D2L. So if you're not familiar with D2L, when you log into D2L, you're going to see all of your classes. Again, that's elearn.mtsu.edu. Hopefully we know where those are at. If you have questions about that, please let me know. But when you click on the class, you should get something that sort of looks like this. And I just wanted to kind of navigate some of the different places that are on here, places that we're going to go, places that you might want to go, and just show you some different things about the class. So the news feed, which is right here, is going to be a really important part of our classes. I'll post announcements about certain things, about things that you might need to do. There'll be times where people ask for videos about different content areas, and I'll post those here. So keep an eye on this area, really important for our class. Not every class will actually even use it, but really important for our class. So keep an eye on the videos and things that pop in here. I won't be sending mass emails out over and over. I'll just post everything here in the news feed so you always have access to it. All of our content is going to be located under the content tab, as you might imagine. There's going to be a lot of information here. So first off, the place you should start is by going to course syllabus and schedule. So maybe I should move that to the top. That way it's the first thing. So when you click on it, you'll see our schedule and our syllabus. So let's take a look at the syllabus for a minute. I'm not going to go over everything, but I want to go over some important aspects of it. First off, here's my contact information. I am Dr. Duncan. I didn't introduce myself. My office number and location are here. Note that all of the office hours are going to be held virtually through the Zoom link. I'll show you where that is in a second, but there is something I need to figure out with that. But these are the meeting times. You can just pop into that Zoom link, and you don't have to make an appointment. You can just show up and ask your questions, and we'll talk for 5 minutes or an hour, whatever it is. But here's the times that I'll be in that Zoom area. If you need to meet me outside these times for scheduling issues, please let me know. I'll be happy to set up a time to work with you. We'll figure out a way for us to talk. The only thing that's required for you to purchase for this class is a MyStatLab access code. I'll talk about that more in a second, but you're not required to buy anything else because we're going to use the software that comes with it. It's called StatCrunch. That's going to be our analyzing software. And then also the book is on that MyStatLab, which I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to scroll all the way down until we get to the grading and procedures. So here's how your grade is going to be broken down. Note the exams are pretty heavily weighted in the online version of this course. Final exam is worth 30%. You've got quizzes and homework. Those are going to be done on MyStatLab. Again, I'll show you where that is in a second. Midterm will also be on MyStatLab. The final exam is probably going to be on D2L, but I'll be sending out that information later. We have online tests. There are 3 of them. I will count the highest 2. I'll show you when those are. Those, what I'm calling tests, will be non-proctored, so you can just do those, at your home where you can just, do them whenever. The proctored exams you will do virtually, but they'll be proctored. So I'll explain more about that later in the term. I don't want to overwhelm you with that. We also have discussions. It's not a big portion of the grade, but I do want to give you some credit for doing it because you're going to spend a good bit of time doing that. But just know that the discussion area is really just a place for us to talk about content. I'm not looking for correct answers. I'm really just looking for us to talk about some statistics. And they'll be the discussion threads will be around or focused on the topics for that week. So that'll be really good for us to kind of decompress that stuff. Those will be on a bi-weekly basis, so they will be on the even numbered weeks, so weeks 2, weeks 4, week 6, and I'll show you that on the calendar in just a second. I think that's basically it for what I want to talk about on the syllabus. Really important that you read through this, go through all the different policies. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to briefly look at the schedule. So same spot here, if you go to the tentative outline, there's a lot on the schedule that we need to take a look at. So let's take a look at it one at a time. So first, I have these broken up in the weeks. You see how I have them numbered, and when I'm talking about even numbered weeks, I'm talking about the ones that are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You see those, and those are also in green. Those are going to be the discussion weeks, which is why that note is down there. Note that our weeks do run from Sunday to Saturday, which means that Saturday oftentimes has things that are due. So just keep that in mind in terms of your scheduling. In terms of the sections that are listed, there's two types of sections listed. There's the stats, the statistics sections, and then there's some algebra lessons that are part of it being a K course. So I've labeled the algebra sections lessons as algebra lesson, whatever it is. And so those are interdispersed throughout. But FYI, those will not be covered on any exams, including the test, midterm, final, anything. So you will not be assessed on those past just completing the homework. You'll see when the tests are done, again, I've labeled those as being online and non-proctored versus the midterm and the final exam, which will be proctored. And there's all the dates for all of that stuff. If you have any questions about that, again, fire off. There could be a typo in here. I'm not above that for sure. So please let me know if you see anything that looks inconsistent or something that's off here. Do note that at Thanksgiving, things are really compressed. So if you look down here at the week of Thanksgiving, that's compressed because of Thanksgiving, and the next week we normally have free to do content, but because of COVID, that last week is a final exam prep week, so I'm not allowed to give you a final exam there. So I scheduled it for Sunday, the 29th, for that test 4. You can obviously complete it before Thanksgiving, but that's going to be the last due date. For the latest time you can complete test 4, because I cannot give it to you during study week or during the final exams. And then we'll talk about the final exam. That's incorrect. It should not say approved testing center. You're going to do that virtually, so that's from an old version. You can also see your quiz dates down here and what sections they cover. Again, I generally make those for the last day of the week, which is on Saturday. That doesn't mean you have to wait until Saturday. A note on the quizzes, you do get 5 attempts to do the quiz, so reach out to me in between those attempts. Last thing on the homework, and I'll show you my stat lab here more in just a second, but you can attempt the homework sections late, and for credit, I don't really mind that. I call those due dates soft due dates, but you can work on them past that. The quiz due dates are hard due dates, so meaning once it passes that due date, you won't be allowed to get back into it. I will say this, I will allow you to do the quiz after the due date, but you're only going to get 1 attempt after the due date, whereas opposed to if you do it within the time frame, you get up to 5. So just FYI on that. I'll show you more about the stat lab in just a second. Past that, if you're on the content tab, you'll see some other things here. First, you'll see the access link that you'll go to for my stat lab. I'll show you that more in just a second. You'll see the final exam review, and you got PDF notes and videos. Let me say that these videos and notes are probably not all encompassing. I'm sure you will have questions about things that fall outside these videos. Additionally, a lot of the videos are focused on using the graphing calculator, and I'm trying to push us to use more StatCrunch. So a lot of times I'll be posting videos in the announcements area to help out with that. So if you ever need a video on something additional, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. All right, let's talk about some other places in D2L. If you go to the assessments, you can get to the discussions that way. You can also go through communication and go through discussions. That's where we're going to have our discussions on that bi-weekly basis. So right here, the only ones that should be available to you are the questions about the class. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you won't see these. Here's a discussion area for week 1, but that's just for fun. You're not required to participate there. And then the other one is a participation of introduction. That's not the right word. It's an introduction area just for us to get where you can post who you are, things like that. And I hope you will do that. The last place is the grades. I'm not going to click on that, but if you click on grades, that'll take you to all your grades. And the nice thing about the way I have my stat lab set up is that your grades from your homework and your quizzes and your tests that are there will automatically be integrated into your D2L gradebook, so you will always know exactly where your grade is at. If you ever have questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, last place is the Zoom area. So if you click on Zoom, again, this is the one thing I'm probably the least sure on. I'm not exactly sure how to set up the office hours here. I have a personal meeting room, but that's on my side, so I'm not exactly sure what your side looks at this. But when you click on this, I'm hoping that if you go to the personal meeting room, that's just going to be my office hours. If that's not the case, then I'm going to have it here as upcoming meetings, but I'll have you some more information on that as soon as I understand that better. Okay, so let me show you about my stat lab. There are 2 ways to access my stat lab. Let me say this, by the way. You might want to take a break here and pause the video, get up, move around. Really need you paying attention to the next part. So hopefully you did pause the video and move around. Again, there's 2 places to get to the stat lab. You can get to it from right when you enter into the class. There'll be a link over here that says My Lab and Mastering, and that will take you to what we call the My Lab or My Stat Lab course home. You can also do that by going to the content area and then clicking on My Stat Lab, which is here. And then you can click on any of these links. So these links will take you to specific areas. So if you want to look at the virtual copy of the book, you can go here. If you just want to work on homework, you can go here. If you want to go to the course home, like the link on the home page would have taken you, you can go here. Straight to quizzes and tests, or the study plan, which is just basically an additional area that you can practice in. You can do that. All right, now the first time you click on any of those links, it's going to ask you to register for the class. So here are your options for registering for the class. Sorry, I'm having to go here. I couldn't get this to work earlier. So you have three options. You can buy the access code from the bookstore. You can buy a hard copy of the book with the access code, or you can buy access directly from the website. Whichever one you do of those options is totally up to you. All right, so when you first click on a link in My Stat Lab, it's going to ask you to set up an account. So you're either going to have to set up a new account or sign in with an old account or set up a new one. The only reason you might want to sign up with a previous account is if you're retaking this class. If you're retaking this class, then you for sure want to remember your Pearson login so you don't have to pay for the access again. But for a lot of you, I imagine you're going to create a new Pearson account. And once you do that and you fill in all of the pertinent information, it's going to ask you for your username and your password, things like that. After you do that, it's going to take you to this screen. And this is where you're either going to enter in the access code that you purchased from the bookstore, or this is where you can pay directly for the access straight through the website. Whichever one of those you do is up to you. I know there is a price difference, but I don't know how big of a difference it is. No matter what you do, I need all of you to be registered day one. So hopefully you're able to buy that access. If not, you'll see this little link down here that says get temporary access for 14 days. If you have to do that, okay, but if you let that 14 days lapse, you will still be held responsible for the content that was covered, homework and stuff, while you're waiting to purchase the access code. I don't want to go too deep into My Stat Lab, but what it basically looks like is something like this. You'll click on your homework. You'll click on the section of homework that you want to do. All the due dates are in here. And then you can click on a question, and basically it gives you a question. Some of them are multiple choice. Most of the questions you're going to be dealing with are going to have open responses where you'll enter in your calculations. There are some question helps that you can click on. If you do hit Ask My Instructor, it generates an email to me with the question, and then please put some additional context about what you're trying to do there. It will send that. There are some other things that are on here that you can use. One thing that we will end up using is StatCrunch a lot. If you have data, this one obviously doesn't have data, but if you have data, there will be a little box that you can click on that will take you directly to StatCrunch and will copy the data so you don't have to manually type it in. But if you need to open up StatCrunch separately, you can do that. And again, I'll be sharing a lot of information about StatCrunch. Okay. Last thing on the homework, you can attempt questions as many times as you want. I encourage you to try to get 100% on all of your homeworks. Obviously on your quizzes and tests, that's not the case. But as you're practicing and preparing for homework, preparing for tests, I encourage you to lean on the homework for getting better at those things. But please reach out to me as well. Okay, I think that's a really brief overview of everything. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I really do look forward to working with all of you. I know this is probably going to be a crazy semester. Even though our class is online, I'm sure we will be impacted in some way. But know that I'm here to help and support you in any way that I can. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to working with you. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.